This is Embrace Your Inner Boldness, a podcast about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm Melissa Henning Frank, coach, guide, and founder of Becoming Bold. I help you strip away the conditioning, reclaim your voice, and rise into the power that's always been yours. Let's get right to it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I want to start today's episode a little bit differently. I want you to think about the last time someone said something that knocked the wind out of you. A sharp comment, a passive-aggressive text, maybe an email that made your blood pressure spike before you even finished reading it. And now I want you to think about how long you carried that. Was it an hour? Was it the rest of your day? Are you still carrying it right now? Yeah, me too. I've definitely been there. But today we're going to talk about what happens when you decide not to carry it anymore, when you put it down. And I'm not saying you just let it go because you're weak and not because you're a pushover, but because you are too focused, too grounded, and too intentional to let someone else's noise redirect your energy. Today we're talking about being unoffendable. And this is one of the most underrated forms of boldness there is. Let me be clear about what we're not talking about. We're not talking about numbing yourself. We're not talking about pretending things don't hurt or plastering a smile over your real feelings or letting people walk all over you and calling that peace. That is not boldness. That is suppression. What I'm talking about is something a lot deeper. It's the practice of understanding that most of what people throw at you has very little to do with you. That rude email, not about you. That harsh criticism, that's their projection. That personal attack, that's their pain showing. Hurt people hurt people. We've all heard that. But do we actually live like we believe it? The moment you start operating from that truth, something shifts. You stop personalizing everything. You stop letting somebody else's unhealed wounds become an open wound on you. People project what they haven't dealt with. They criticize in others what they fear in themselves. They attack when they feel small. And none of that is your assignment to absorb. I remember a season in my life where I was so easily triggered. Somebody would say the wrong thing, and I would spend hours, sometimes days, mentally replaying it. I would craft the perfect response. I would be rehearsing arguments in my head with people who weren't even in the room. And the whole time, they had moved on. They were living their lives. I was the one standing still, burning energy on something that had already passed and wasn't even a thing. That's what offense does. It freezes you. It keeps you focused on the wound instead of the destination, and it is such a distraction from your goals. I had to ask myself a hard question, and it's a question that I'm going to ask you today. What am I missing while I'm busy being offended? What opportunity walked past you while you were still stewing? What creative idea went quiet because your mind was too loud with resentment? What version of you stayed dormant because your energy was tied up in somebody who doesn't even think about you after they leave the room? Most people spend energy on offense. You need to spend yours on progress. That one landed for me like a gut punch the first time I really sat with it. Progress requires presence. It requires your full attention, your imagination, your emotional bandwidth. And offense is an energy leak. So every time you give it your energy, you're overspending somewhere else. So let's talk about why this is so hard, but why it's also so worth it. I'm not going to stand in your face and tell you that this is easy, because it's definitely not, especially for those of us who grew up in environments where we had to be hypervigilant, where reading the room was survival, where you learned to be on guard because things could shift at any moment. For a lot of us, taking things personally wasn't a character flaw. It was survival, it was adaptation, and it kept us safe. So here's what I want you to hear, and I really want you to really hear it. What protected you then might be limiting you now. The hypervigilance that once kept you safe is now making you spend your precious energy guarding yourself from things that are not actually threats. You are not a little girl trying to survive anymore. You are a grown, capable, powerful human being who gets to choose where your energy goes. And that is a gift. That is your superpower if you're willing to claim it. When you stop taking things personally, you stop being a moving target. You become grounded and steady, and people don't quite know what to do with a person who can't be shaken. That kind of peace is disarming. That kind of peace is authority. So now I'm going to call you out a little bit. Because I care about you, I'm going to tell you what a good big sister tells you. Not what sounds nice, but more like what's true. Some of you are holding on to offense, like it's doing something for you. Like if you stay angry enough, they'll finally understand. Like if you rehearse the argument enough times, you'll win in your head and it'll translate into something real. Like being hurt is proof that you were right. And I need you to ask yourself, how's that working? Is the replaying over and over again healing you? Is the resentment building your business? Is the grudge that you're holding getting you closer to the life you said you wanted? I didn't think so. This isn't about pretending people didn't wrong you. Some of them absolutely did. This is about deciding that your peace, your progress, and your purpose are more valuable than proving a point to someone who may never see it anyway. So this week's bold challenge. The next time something hits you wrong, pause before you react. Take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself, is this about me or is this about them? Identify one thing you're still carrying from the last 30 days and make a decision to set it down. Write it out and then close the journal. Burn the page if you need to. Make sure you notice where your energy is leaking. What are you replaying? What conversation are you rehearsing? That is where your power is being borrowed without your permission. Redirect. Take that same energy and put it toward one thing that moves you forward. One thing. That's all it takes to start. So say this out loud today and really mean it. I am too focused on where I'm going to be distracted by what doesn't serve me. You are unstoppable when you choose to be. I want to leave you with this. Being unoffendable is not about becoming cold. It's not about shutting people out or pretending you don't have feelings. It's about becoming so rooted in who you are, so clear on what you're building, so committed to your own becoming that the noise just doesn't have the same grip on you anymore. Things will still happen. People are going to still say things. Life will still throw curveballs, but you get to decide what sticks. You get to decide what you absorb and what you let bounce off. And that decision, when you make it daily and you make it deliberately, is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Let everything bounce off. Save your energy for what matters. That's your assignment. That's your boldness. That is your superpower. I'm really proud of you for showing up today. Go be unstoppable. And until next time, please be kind to your mind. That's it for today's episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. If this stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Screenshot this episode, tag me at Becoming Bold LLC, and share it with someone else who's ready to rise. And hey, if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's how we spread the boldness and keep this movement growing. Whatever came up for you today, feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or permission. You are powerful. You are ready. And remember, the only limit to your boldness is the one you set for yourself. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep becoming you.